Any words of advice to someone that's thinking about taking something like this on?
I mean,
All right, guys, so we're back again, and we're going to be talking about the Hellcat 300. Some of maybe lessons that were learned about building something this unique. I kind of want Boost Kings to kind of go over some of the pitfalls of doing something like this, maybe some of the things that he's learned throughout the process, and maybe it'll help if you're in the current process of doing it yourself. Again, this thing is for sale for those of you that are interested, but I'm going to kick it over to him and let him talk about the build.
oh, well, the pitfalls, the one major pitfall that you don't want to do is like, you don't want to mix and match wiring harnesses. Like the ideal thing to do is like, go find a charger online, and that has like every option you want, like Harman Kardon or whatever the case may be. And you take the VIN number from that car and you order the wiring harness for that car. So say if you get like the VIN number for like a 2019 Red Eye and you want Harman Kardon option, or you know, whatever the case may be, you have to use that VIN number to order all the wiring harnesses. Because what I did was, like, I learned the hard way until I got it figured out, was that I used to, like, I would call the dealer and be like, oh yeah, give me a cabin harness for a 2016 Hellcat. And then I'd go on eBay and be like, oh look, a headlight harness, and it was like from a 2018. And like, oh look, a dashboard harness, and it's like from like 2015. Like that was like a very costly mistake. Like, do not mix and match wiring harnesses, because it won't work out well. Like, you'll be driving yourself fucking nuts. At one point the car had electric power steering. I bought a 2020 Charger electric power steering rack, and to get that to work in the car, like, it worked, but the car would like freak out with the electric power steering rack. It was the car would always, like, majority of the time the car would be like service power steering. The warnings come on the dash, service power steering or service shifter. Like, that's because like the car, like, you know, the headlight, I've been through like 4 different headlight harnesses until I decided, I was like, you know what, I was like, I'm just gonna go back to the conventional power steering. So I went and got a conventional power steering rack, pump, lines, and a cooler. I just put conventional power steering back in the car, and I put a charger, center console, and a shifter in it. You know, every wiring harness has to be from a charger. Like, you know, I had the 300 center console with the rotary knob, the dial shifter. It was like, oh, service shifter, because it just wouldn't. Like,
would it drive okay? It's just you were getting some engine lights?
Getting like warnings, like,
okay,
you know, service shifter. The only 2 I got were like service shifter and service power steering. And like, you know, then you're saying to yourself, you're like, it's electric power steering, how can I service?
So the first lesson would be the wiring harnesses have to match. Okay. Anything in addition to the wiring harnesses? Was there other hurdles that needed to be had?
That was it. The wiring harnesses were the worst fucking part.
Taking the V6 out and dropping the Hellcat engine in with the transmission, that all kind of went in smooth, no problem.
My video was like, you know, the engine came with a V6 and it was rear wheel drive. So the front subframe, you know, the Mopar is not going to make 10 different front subframes for like a V6, a V8. They're going to use the same exact subframe. So what I did is I dropped the front subframe out of the car. I took the V6 off the subframe, and I put the Hellcat motor. It bolted right on the engine mounts. It bolted right up to the V6 subframe. So the Hellcat motor is still on the same frame. Like, you know, you can call it a V6 subframe, you can call it a V8 subframe. It's the same exact fucking thing.
Gotcha.
Like I said, they're not going to make 2 different subframes for a V6 versus a V8. It costs fucking tons of money, you know. So, but on that, like the rear end, you'll see in my videos on my channel, the rear end just went, you know, the whole entire rear subframe just went right in. You know, I used the lift. I just, you know, lowered the car down onto the rear subframe, and everything just bolted right up. You know?
What about the interior? Because I'm sure that there had to have been a little bit of custom work with gelling a lot of the Charger interior.
It's funny because
to the 300, right?
15 and 16, the cabin harnesses will support like 15 to 16 seats. I believe it was 17 where they change the wiring. So if you have a 15-16 cabin harness and you put 17 seats in them, some of the seat functions won't work. Now, if you know what you're doing, you go with wiring diagrams, you can repin those and the seats will work fine. But as far as plug and play, if you do like a 15-60, you got to get 15-16 seats. If you do like a 17 cabin harness, like all the seats from like 17 up, to the best of my knowledge, they'll all fit, you know, from 17 to 20, 21, you know, they're all fit into a 17 cabin harness. So, but like I said, you know, it's like, you know, you just take the old stuff out, put the new stuff in, basically, you know.
Now, most people that end up doing something like this, they do a full charger interior, like
dashboard.
The dashboard. And you said that there was a little bit of complexity to something like that, right?
You mean you could, like, when I did this one, I took the whole entire 300 dashboard out, and I got a charger dashboard harness, and I just swapped out the harnesses behind the dashboard so that everything would fit. I mean, some people just put an actual like charger dashboard in, but that takes away from the 300.
Yeah.
You want the, like, people see it, you know, they're like, you know, there's no way that's real. Because as far as people know, you can't walk into a dealership, you know, like, you know, people, you can walk in there and get a Charger, Challenge, or whatever. But for the most part, like, you know, you can never walk in there, like, you know, get like a Hellcat 300 off the Charles floor. Like, you have to make it yourself, basically. You know?
Guys, when we pulled up to the Dodge dealership, I'll tell you, the amount of looks that we get in this thing, it's unbelievable, right?
I do that for fun. Sometimes I drive through my local Dodge dealership and the technicians come outside and like fucking they freak out.
Everybody looking at you sideways. I'll tell you, I drove it, so much fun. And if you guys haven't seen that footage, definitely go check it out. I got some highway shots of it rolling around. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I know video's not even gonna do this thing justice. Just everything about it is very professional. It's very clean. And I'm excited because I follow his channel and he's gonna be doing a red eye version of this shortly. And I'm gonna be following along with that too, you know? Are you excited? You're pumped?
I can't wait. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, next, I want to do a red eye next, you know, then after that, who knows, we'll see what happens, you know, maybe just keep on doing them, I don't know. I'll try to change up eventually, but for right now, I'm just, you know, I'm in the zone where I want to just keep on doing this, you know? So.
Guys, if you're looking to do something like this, and let me tell you, it's a lot of work, right? It took you like 7 months, 10 months, or something like a year, right?
18 months.
Yeah, so if you're looking to do stuff like this, there's a lot of things that you're going to have to take into account, not just the physical, you know, components getting in. There's tuning even, right? Or something like that. There's the PCM.
PCM, it's the charger, it's a factory charger PCM. Believe it or not, the engine and transmission are ever Challenger Hellcat, but they're all the same. You know, as long as it's not a stick shift, you know, the trains are the same, the engine's the same, you know, so. But yeah, I mean, everything's like plug and play. Like, it's a Charger, Hellcat, BCM, PCM, you know, everything's just, you know, if you have access to a Charger, Hellcat, you can do this.